Mike,
Yes.
with respect to items 400 and 401, please call the emergency.
Thank you.
Wait, hold on a second. Why don't we do 400, 401 first?
Emergency resolutions number 25 and 26. An emergency resolution declaring an emergency for immediate action upon a bond ordinance providing for a capital expenditure to finance the capital projects identified herein within the County of Nassau and authorizing 96,067,650 of bonds of the County of Nassau to finance such expenditures pursuant to the local finance law of New York and the county government law of Nassau County. That's resolution number 25-19. Emergency resolution 26-2019. An emergency resolution declaring an emergency for immediate action upon an ordinance to amend ordinance number 174-2018, adopting the capital budget for the County of Nassau for the first year of the 4-year capital plan to commence on January 1, 2019, pursuant to the provision of Section 310 of the County Government Law of Nassau County.
Legislator Mascarella makes a motion to establish an emergency, seconded by Legislator Bino. Any discussion on the emergency? All in favor of establishing the emergency signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, carries unanimously. I am now going to read these items as we have to vote on them. Item 400, 2019 is a bond ordinance providing for a capital expenditure to finance the capital projects identified herein within the county and authorizing $96,067,650 of bonds of the county to finance such expenditure. 401 is an ordinance to amend ordinance number 174 of 2018, adopting the capital budget for the county for the first year of the 4-year capital plan to commence on January 1st, 2019. Moved by Legislator Mascarella, seconded by Legislator Bino. You're told to read the timestamps for these two, which item 400-19 was filed on November 8th, 2019 at 3:18 p.m. 401 2019 was filed on November 8th, 2019 at 3:18
That's what I thought.
So those items before us now.
Okay, where is that?
I would just invite someone, Ken Olive, to the microphone to speak to us about these.
Good afternoon, Ken Olive, Public Works. Item 400 and 401 are in tandem. 401 is the capital amendment, and item 400 is the associated bond ordinance. These are for 4 projects, 3 which have been bid and are going to be in front of you today for contracts, and one of which we're going to be bidding shortly. They're important projects we want to get up and running for the spring. They include Bayville Bridge, the rehabilitation of the bridge, which is a reconstruction of the mechanicals, electrical, and the vascular span. We also have the Phantom Mat Court Phase 2, which is the interior fit out of the project. That we're looking to get a seamless construction from Phase 1 is complete this coming winter. The third project, Austin Boulevard Road Improvements. This is a traffic safety and resurfacing project. Austin Boulevard is a long-standing project the department has worked on. It's to upgrade all the signal systems, take a lane away for road dividing, help slow traffic down, curb bulbouts for pedestrian accessibility, and so forth. And the fourth project, which will be going out to bid shortly, is HVAC improvements for the county clerk storage building at 1194 or the Public Safety Center. They have an HVAC issue that needs to be addressed as soon as possible.
Just tell us again what the emergency nature of these are. You touched on them generally, but why are we doing this by emergency today?
Well, 2 projects are associated with state grants. We are looking to get those projects started as soon as possible, not to lose obligation for the money. The state would like to see their projects done expeditiously. In addition, if we get them approved today, I could hopefully get the NIFR either next week or a December meeting. to have all the other paperwork lined up to start construction in March, and I'll get a full season of construction for both Bayville and Austin Boulevard. Family Court, we're trying to have a seamless construction from one phase to the next. This gives me a better chance of getting that all accomplished.
And the county clerk's office, the HVAC issues, obviously.
Yes, the quick I can get that, I don't want to have a delay in getting that job awarded as soon as I get the bids back.
And that's where their records are stored?
Yes, and they have a long-standing issue that we'll be addressing that.
Anyone else have any questions on these for Legislator Lapizan?
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Commissioner Arnold, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
So obviously I'm appreciative for the significant allocation here regarding the Bayville Bridge. The Bayville Bridge is the lifeline into one of Long Island's largest villages. Two questions are, first, when will the project start? And secondly, how long will the project take?
The project should start this spring. I can't give you an exact date. There's also the project will start in the spring. Physical work has to be scheduled. We have a lot of guidelines on when we can close the bridge, can't close the bridge. It's all laid out, which is why it's also important to get this started early in the spring so I don't lose half a season and I can't do some closures and I'll further delay the project. I believe the project duration is about 18 months. 18 months or 2 years. I have to go back and check my notes.
Thank you. And just for the record, Commissioner, I appreciated your graciousness coming, making the long commute to Bayville, and co-hosting a public forum with me. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Any public comment? Brother?
Thank you, Chairman. Well, I strongly urge the adoption of these ordinances because these four projects are indeed really emergencies in their being or on the cusp of becoming serious public problems. But there is one item that troubles me because it is not in there, and that is work at the Nassau County Correctional Center to alleviate all of the structural severe problems at the Correctional Center. Okay, but this ordinance, because of what it's doing, deserves your immediate and emergency attention. And I highly recommend it to you. But please keep in mind the testimony we heard from the sheriff not long ago about the current state of the Nassau County Correctional Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Narada. Justin?
Mr. J. Merida, as we're rounding out the end of 2019, and with regard to just recently seeing a press release about a disparity study that now is attaching as service-disabled veteran-owned businesses along with minority women businesses, it's distressing to me that the report and recommendation from the previous state-mandated minority and women business enterprise disparity study was not adopted, which means that none of the recommendations or the hard work of the paid consultant were taken into consideration. I'm concerned, I feel that these projects need to be approved, but I'm concerned that we're going into yet another year that we have significant disconnect with regard to procurement and outreach as it pertains to diverse businesses, service-disabled and veteran-owned businesses, and we're not getting any further in making this a priority, and it's a concern. We have a significant flight of veterans who are leaving this area. We keep talking about affordable and accessible housing and things of that nature. Again, many of you, I'm sure, attended many activities and parades and salutes and presentations on Monday for Veterans Day. But this is, again, the days after. These are the days and the times when our veterans continue to suffer. And many of them are not suffering in silence. When we talk about the increase in issues, suicides, domestic violence, and things of that nature, and if we're talking about the types of reforms and protecting our residents and supporting our citizens, when we are issuing contracts in the millions of dollars and we can't come up with the state mandated percentages for service disabled veteran businesses. We can't allow the fact that 85% of veterans prefer to work with another veteran business, and we're not doing anything proactively. When we look at the layer of dust for the Veteran-Owned Business Act that I drafted back in 2014, that was enacted in 2016, and we haven't put any resources in place to address those concerns, it is troubling. It continues to be troubling for those of us who are in these domestic trenches that are trying to make a real difference on a daily basis for our veterans. So it is a concern that there is still no platform in this county that focuses on the development aspect for service disabled and veteran-owned businesses, minority and women businesses, and we need to do something about it. And I'm just floored that we're still talking about why we cannot increase $20,000 to veteran services and we're doing nothing for veteran businesses. Don't get it.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none, all in favor of 404-1 of 2019, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that carries unanimously. Mike, we need an emergency on 413.
Emergency Resolution 24-2019, an emergency resolution declaring an emergency for immediate action upon a resolution authorizing the county executive to execute an agreement with the Nassau County Interim Finance Authority in relation to the return to the New York State Controller for a portion of sales and compensating use taxes for distribution to towns and certain villages in Nassau County.
Thank you. That emergency is moved by Legislator Goulet, seconded by Legislator Gaylord. Anyone have any discussion with respect to the emergency? None. All in favor of establishing the emergency signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, carries unanimously. I'll call the item. A resolution authorizing the county executive to execute an amendment with the Nassau County Interim Finance Authority in relation to the return to the New York State Controller of a portion of sales and compensated use taxes for distribution to towns and certain villages in Nassau County. Moved by Legislator Gaylord, seconded by Legislator Goulet. Okay, Andy?
Andy Percival, Office of Management Budget. The item before you was something that was noticed by New York State in September, and they made us aware of it right after the budget was passed. Apparently, when they passed the internet sales tax legislation, there was 3 counties within the state that had control boards, us being one of them, and the way they wanted to distribute the aim wasn't going to work. So we came up with a solution working with the State Budget Office, the State Controller's Office, NIFA, and us on how we can get this money to the municipalities quickly and easily by December, because it will create a cash flow to them. So this agreement is a solution that the state is on board with and NIFA is on board with, so that they can return the money so that the local municipalities can have their cash. So, any questions?
Yeah, this arrangement has been run past the State Budget Office and State Control, and they both have signed off on it.
I personally have had extensive calls with them on this matter, and they are on board with
And
this.
they believe it's an acceptable way to resolve this.
Yep, it's the simplest way to do it, actually. So,
Anyone have any questions? Legislator Millet?
Yes, hi Andy. So this will make the villages whole from where, the way they normally had been paid. So, say a village was normally got $500,000, I'm just making up a number, that they would get that $500,000.
that is correct.
Okay.
It was directly disseminated from the state to them previously, but when they passed the internet legislation, it kind of got looped into that. So they're going to be getting the same things that they would be getting previously from the state.
That's told to read the timestamp of this. The item was filed on November 12, 2019 at 1:25 p.m. Isn't it accurate that the state used to directly pay the AIM monies, the aid municipality monies, to the local municipalities?
That is correct.
And then what the change now is that instead of the state directly paying these municipalities, they're taking a portion of the county's sales taxes and taking.
Correct.
Correct?
That is correct.
So in essence, they have pushed off a state obligation onto the locality.
I would concur with that statement. I would like the money myself. It would help us in many ways. So, yes.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Andy, when the internet sales, that tax goes into effect, and we get that money, we're not, are the villages gonna get money from there as well?
I don't think the legislation is written like a proportion of the sales tax that way. Let me confirm that. I mean, it's still a little gray area how this is all gonna shake out, but they started collecting in June, and the first quarterly checks started coming in September, so I don't know if there's a local government assistance piece of this that they get 0.25% of that, but I'll find out for you, okay?
But we don't know if we're gonna be able to recoup this money that we're now giving to the villages.
This is not, this will be recurring even in next year. It's gonna be the
So
same
it's like
thing.
a non-hunting Nancy.
Just one other caveat to this is, the state is going to pass legislation in the next session to correct this error. So this is like a one-time event for the government, so it's gonna be corrected by the state. I don't wanna have to be divvying up funds to other municipalities.
I don't blame you, but it's only 1 year then for you to just.
It's only for the December piece, and then when they start in June, when they do or in May, when they're in the next session, they will correct this error. That's what I've been told, and it's part of the executive.
I hope for your sake.
Yep, I hope so too.
Any other questions? Any public comments? Hearing none, thank you, Andy. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, carries unanimously. Need a motion to adjourn. Moved by legislator. Legislative Board makes a motion to adjourn, seconded by legislator Gaylord. All in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, we are adjourned. We're going to jump right into the Rules Committee. Our clerk looks a little different. First, Muscarella, would you like to call the roll? Okay. By the way, one big announcement we have today is Legislator Muscarella is a grandfather for the first time. Your daughter is Sloan, correct? I go to call the
Yes, sir. Rules Committee roll call. Legislator Sheila Bino.
Here.
Legislator Delia Durigi Witten.
Here.
Ranking Member Kavan Abraham.
Here.
Legislator Laura Schaefer.
Here.
Legislator Stephen Rhodes.
Present.
Vice Chairman Howard Copel. Chairman Richard Nicolello.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. We go right to the contracts. A70 of 2019 is a resolution authorizing the Director of the Nassau County Office of Purchasing to award and execute a contract between the county and Pitney Bowes Incorporated. Moved by Legislator Durigi Witten, seconded by Minority Leader Abraham.
Good afternoon, legislators. Ed Corona from the Bureau of Printing Publications and Mail Services. Today is a contract for a 5-year lease for our mailing equipment and our in-plant mailing shop that is here in Mineola.
This is not print shop operations. This is
Well,
mailing.
the printing and mailing is the same department. It's been like that for the last almost 80 years. So this is inside. This is the lease on our in-plant mailing shop. It's a 5-year contract. We've been dealing with this for almost 15 years now. It's a lease for the equipment, the software, our scanning, our hardware for the first-class mail that's used by all agencies in Nassau County.
So this is the mailing component of our
Correct.
operation. This doesn't,
Yes.
So printing is separate, correct?
Yes.
We have a printing presses that we have issues with.
Yes.
While I have you here, my understanding is that the county is purchasing new printing, high-speed printers, is that correct?
Yeah, currently we received a capital from DPW. We already made the purchase of the first 6 machines. Just waiting for the install date and when they're landing down in this, so that we can go. We're pretty much going 100% digital, removing all the offset and the chemical equipment that we've used in the past.
First 6 machines, that means there's others that are going to be purchased?
Pretty sure probably at least another 3 machines will be purchased in that.
And then what are you doing with the old equipment?
The old printing presses, well, hopefully we'll be able to auction them off very soon. Most of the digital equipment that we had that basically spent its life will be just either auctioned off or just surplus out.
There's an ongoing problem with that equipment in terms of it breaking down on a regular basis. So with this
Yes,
new
it
price
is.
printers, we will have more reliable.
Correct. Yeah, most of these machines are over a 10-year limit. The life they look at is between 5 to 6. In Nassau County here, we stretched that to like 10 to 12.
Is the mailing equipment, is that used for all county mailings or that any county mailings?
This is for all first-class business mail that are all 41 agencies in the elected departments. Basically first-class mail, whether it's letters to your constituent or it's payroll or it's purchasing agreements or legal mail that goes out.
Does anyone else have any questions? Any public comment? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you, Eddie. Next two, I'm going to call two items together because they're public works related. It's B16 of 2019 and E204. B16 is a resolution authorizing the county executive to award and execute a contract between the county and HL Contracting LLC. 204 is a resolution authorizing the county executive to execute a personal services agreement between the county and Lewis K. McLean Associates, Engineers and Surveyors, moved by Legislator Schaefer, seconded by Legislator Bynum.
Good afternoon, Ken Arnold. Also, B21 is on the agenda.
And actually, it's going to be seconded by Legislator Richie Whitney, and we'll call the one on the agenda next.
Okay, thank you. And we're not calling today the family court contract?
No, at the request of the Inspector General, we're not calling that.
Okay. All right, so I'll start with B16 is a bid contract for the Bayville Bridge project that I mentioned earlier. Department we had 4 responses. H&L Contract was the lowest responsible bidder. We are looking at $21.6 million, which is above the engineer's estimate. We went through the documents with the design engineer, talked with the state, and we finally rebid the contract. We would not do any better. It's an acceptable bid for the department. We're getting reimbursed at a level of 35% from the federal government. We're looking at a DBE contribution of 8.37%. The next one.
Let me ask, any questions on this contract?
On B16, Ken, if we're reading the back correctly, it notes that we are 16.7 million over the engineer's estimate.
Engineer's estimate was around, we looked at the notes, hold on. The engineer's estimate was 13.2, and the lowest possible bid came in at 21.6. So that is correct.
No. Yeah, so why was it over the bid then? I guess
One aspect of it was at the request of the community, they wanted the bridge closures minimized, so we expedited the schedule, which cost us money. It cost a little more than we anticipated in the engineer's estimate. The steel pricing and some of the structural components were more expensive than we anticipated. In looking at all the bids, they all were fairly tight together. So when we did our analysis and talked to the state, we feel that the bid is a good bid because they were spread quite a bit than we would think otherwise. So we were recommending award at this bid price. And answer the previous question, the 2-year contract.
Legislator Rhodes had a question, and Legislator Richie.
Actually, my question was already answered.
Okay, Legislator Richie.
Ken, where it says that the federal funds are gonna be providing, what, 35%? Is that, I'm just wondering if that's FEMA, like related to Sandy?
No, it's not. This is, we put the bridge on the transportation infrastructure program, the New York State DOT.
Did we get anything from Sandy?
We had repaired the bridge right after Sandy. If you remember, we had to do the generator and replace some of the mechanical equipment that was that got wet. So we did spend about I think somewhere between $500,000 on the bridge after Sandy.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions on this item? Let's move on to the 204.
Okay, so E204 is a design contract for West Broadway resurfacing and drainage improvements, which we call Phase 63. We received 7 responses to the professional service request. LKMA was found to be the most technically responsive bid at $326,000. They're proposing an MWBE participation at 12%.
Any questions? Hearing none. Any public comment on these two? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Those two carried unanimously. Why don't you stay up here, we'll do the one on the addendum.
So
Motion-
B21.
Before you jump into that. Motion to suspend the rules by legislator Rhodes, seconded by Deputy Presiding Officer Copel. All in favor of suspending the rules, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Rules are suspended. B21 2019 is a resolution authorizing the county executive to award and execute a contract between the county and J. Anthony Enterprises, Inc. Moved by Deputy Presiding Officer Copel, seconded by Minority Leader Abrams.
Thank you, Ken Arnold, Public Works. B21 is for Austin Boulevard traffic safety and road resurfacing. This is a long-standing project. We work with the community. We're looking to reshape Austin Boulevard by taking a lane away, increasing pedestrian access by curved bulbouts. We're replacing all the signal equipment, adding the traffic management cameras, BMS signs, all to be used during any type of evacuation process. There's a little bit of drainage being done in the work, and at the end of the project, the road gets resurfaced from curb to curb. We had 3 bidders. J. Anthony was the lowest responsible bid at $15.2 million. Again, this bid came in over the engineer's estimate. We did analyze the bids again, and since speaking with contractors, our engineer underestimated the cost of doing work down in the Island Park, Long Beach area with all the trucking. It's not as simple as doing work in other parts of the county. So that was our experience of why most of the bid price went up. In addition, some of the steel pole prices were higher than we anticipated in our estimate. We are receiving federal money for this, both through some Sandy funds, replace traffic signal equipment, and also through TIP money. We have received a grant a number of years ago to help mitigate pedestrian safety. So we have received about $6.7 million on the project, and our DBE goal, which we're meeting, is 9% on the project.
All right. Any questions?
Ken, according to the backup, 9% of the services on the project was performed by Advanced Enterprises. Who actually monitors that DB performance?
This contract, I believe because it's a state contract, will go through the state EBO system, but we also do monitor it ourselves also.
Okay. Can you report back to us on the findings, if you see anything?
Yep.
To that monitor? Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Any public comment on B21? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carries unanimously. E202, thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Is a resolution authorizing the county executive to execute a personal services agreement between the county and Nassau Healthcare Corporation. This one is moved by Legislator Bino, seconded by Legislator Luigi Whitten. Let the record reflect that. Seconded by Legislator Schaefer. Let the record reflect that the minority leader has left the chambers, will not be participating in any debate, discussion, or vote on this contract.
Legislators, good afternoon. Paul Broderick. Department of Social Services, the item before you is a contract between the Department of Social Services and Nassau Healthcare Corporation provide registered nurses to help evaluate clients' assistance for various programs, such as for disability assistance and personal care assistance. They help evaluate whether or not the individuals need whether they need service and the level of service that's required.
Okay, any questions on this contract? Let's do Reggie Whitman.
Hi, I just want to mention it's retroactive, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
So, all right, so we hope, we have to renew it, let's try to do it before it's next time, okay?
We were working as diligently as we could with the Healthcare Corporation, and it took them time to get the information back to us, but we finally got it in for this, for a 3-year period, so we should be good for a while.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
So
thank
wait,
you.
there's just one other, okay, and we just want to note that there's a certificate of no change on the form that was signed on September 30th. Oh, okay.
Good.
We noticed that this contractor has submitted another contract, and so we're seeing that this amendment has a certificate of no change form, and so we just want to acknowledge and thank you for including that in the submission to this body.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Any public comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Your fault. E-203 of 2019 is a personal services, is a resolution authorizing the county executive to execute a personal services agreement between the county and Edmore Advertising Agency, Inc. Moved by Deputy Presiding Officer Copel, seconded by Legislator Rhodes.
Tori Queso from the Department of Parks.
What's the name?
Tori Queso.
Thank you.
So E-20319 is an agreement with the Edmore Advertising Agency for up to $150,000 per year for 3 years for a total of $450,000 to develop and implement a comprehensive event marketing plan to on a per event basis to purchase multiple forms of media advertising for the Department of Parks.
Will this contract assist the county in terms of scheduling shows and things of that nature? It appeared to us that that the scheduling of shows was late this year, and as a result, getting the information to the public was problematic.
In terms of the department scheduling the shows themselves, I'm not sure, I would have to double check, but they are, once the dates are picked, they do the advertising of them to get the information out to the public.
Legislator Schaefer.
Hi, Tori. Is this, so for this advertising, is this something that the Department of Parks has done on their own previously? Or have they used some other agency?
We currently, this is the next contract, we currently do utilize this agency, and also we've used Intercom in the past.
Okay. Is that not something that the Department of Parks can do on their own? I mean, it's advertising, right? I'm not saying I know exactly what goes into that, but I placed an ad or two on my day.
Yeah, my understanding is that Edmore Advertising Agency is very knowledgeable in all of the different avenues that that can be utilized to advertise, especially locally here in Nassau and Long Island. And they have, you know, the right connections and know the right people to go to. I'm not 100% certain that that would be able to be done at the first part.
Okay. I'm also wondering, the contract renewable every year, is that right? For 3 years?
There is a 1-2 year period.
Okay. And I think the option to renew is just at the discretion of the department,
Yes.
from what I understand, but typically it would be something that would come before the rules committee
Yes.
in the past, so why is it different now? Is it not gonna come
This
before the rules
is, so,
committee?
the current, you're speaking about the current contract, and if it was renewed?
The one that we're voting on now.
The term starts in March. This is a new contract based on an RFP that was issued in February. So this is one of the proposers that was selected, and this will be the contract from March of next year.
Right.
Right.
No, I think I just, what I'm asking is, in the past, I believe that if they were coming to renew, it would come before the Rules Committee.
Yeah.
And now it doesn't sound like, from what I understand, the contract is different. It wouldn't have to come before the Rules Committee. It would just be, you could just renew it. The Department of Parks can just renew it. Is that right, or is that wrong?
That I am not certain of.
Okay.
Dennis McNaught from the county attorney.
Yes, from the legislators and Durham County Attorney's Office. Yes, it is new, and it's done because between various discussions between county attorney and the legislature as a whole on contracts, especially this type. We've done an RFP, and we've had it reviewed by the Rules Committee, and it's only a term extension on the same terms and conditions. The county attorney was informed that if you wanted to have the department be able to approve that, then that's what should be in the contract, as opposed to just saying county.
For efficiency? Is that basically what we're talking about? One less thing to have to come and
That is
vote
correct,
on?
legislature.
Okay. Okay. I have no more questions.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yeah, I understand what they're attempting to accomplish, but the purpose of legislative review of these contracts is to be able to evaluate, part of it is to be able to evaluate performance. We're supposed to be in a position to be able to see if circumstances have changed, where the county might be able to get a better deal, where the Rules Committee might be able to evaluate whether the services were provided adequately and whether it's in the best interest of the county to be able to renew that contract.
Legislative, the department, under its own, under the county procurement policy, is obligated to do a review each time. So if they decided and elected to exercise the option to renew, they would have done a detailed review as to services rendered, cost, value to the county. The department would determine if it was not in their best interest or if they could get better value elsewhere. They would just do a new RFP then, as opposed to doing an extension.
The whole purpose of legislative review of contracts is for oversight. So if the department is undertaking their own analysis and is making the determination without legislative review, how are we accomplishing our oversight function?
Well, at this moment, on an extension only, I would think that the legislators would take what the department would promulgate to them with some faith that we would not come here without believing that it would be in the county's best interest to do an extension. And one of the reasons that the department was put in, and it wasn't just county attorney's thought process, was that once you've approved the contract based on an RFP, some discretion should be given to a department so we don't have to continually come back and take up your time and the department's time.
We review contract extensions routinely.
That is correct.
So what is the impetus behind, why is this contract and this department different from every other department in the county?
I don't think they are. I don't know if, as time goes by, you may be seeing more of those in other departments' contracts. I don't know.
I'll tell you right now, I'm not comfortable with that.
I just want to add, yeah, so I understand extending a contract without, additional monies, but as Legislator Rhodes was saying, renewing is different.
Well,
before you renew and give another.
It has to be, well, in this context, a renewal is an extension because it has to be on the same terms and conditions as the contract that you are now approving. I believe, without seeing the contract, I do believe that's what it says in the term clause.
Okay.
So in essence, the only thing that is being done is an extension of the contract.
For another $150,000 though. I mean, it's more
Per year, yes.
renewal.
But it is the same term as you would be approving now.
Okay, thank you.
Legislator Richard Whitman.
Hi, so if the renewal happens, which it probably would, what would the maximum for the contract, the total contract be?
If it was a 2-year renewal
Yes.
at 150,000, yeah, so you would add 300,000 to whatever the,
So shouldn't this state a total of, we have something here that says 450, so we should really have that extra 300 on.
well, that would, I believe that they intend on their review, and as it stands, it is a 3-year contract, and that is for $450,000.
But if you're doing an automatic renewal.
It's the department, it would be a department approval of the extension, but it's not automatic.
It still has to come back before the ledge.
No, but there would be an actual review, and if
Right,
if you wanted to see the review, it gets sent to the compliance and the procurement departments of the administration, so it isn't just a department that when we would do it, it would have to also be approved. That they do a study. I mean, they say this is what was supplied. He was reactive to the department. It would be the same type of review that would be given to you in just an extension.
All right, I think it's gonna, but I think if it comes back to us, we do have that legislation in place now that says we need the maximum amount, being spent on a contract, whether it's in one one time, or if it's gonna be given permission for you to review and renew, the total amount should be listed on the item.
Which form? Because I can only speak to you in terms of the contract itself.
We passed unanimously a piece of legislation that says that.
No, legislator, I'm sorry, what form would it have to be on? Because I'm only addressing the legal concept, the contract itself.
Well,
If there are other forms
the
like
item
the
itself.
staff summary or anything like that, I can't answer that. That's why I didn't have the
Well, in my opinion, this would cover the fact that the full amount should be listed on the item. And here, E203-19 is for $450,000.
Well, I can address that,
What?
legislator, as to why the extension amounts aren't included. I'm only addressing why it's the department
Okay,
approval.
well, I'm just saying, I believe this might be tabled by the majority, so if it is, I suggest that if it comes back, that we include the full amount, which is really what is in line with the legislation we passed. So I would put the full 700, because, looking at this, we're giving approval for 450,000. But technically, we're giving approval for 700, which is fine, but I should just say it on the total amount.
Legislator, I don't have the form, I haven't seen the form, so I can't.
All right, well, I'm just giving a general suggestion when it's resubmitted that it should have the full amount, because that's what the legislation that we just passed about a year ago requires, okay?
Okay,
Thank
I'll
you
make
very
sure
much.
Parks does the correct now.
I appreciate it.
Legislator Rhodes makes a motion to table, seconded by Legislator Schaefer. All in favor of tabling, signify by saying aye. Aye, those opposed, item is tabled. So, both our staffs will be in touch.
Thank you, legislator.
Thank you. Now going back to the addendum, E207, 2019, the resolution making certain determination pursuant to the State Environmental Review Act and authorizing the county executive to execute a permit agreement between the county and Home Box Office, Inc. That is moved by Legislator Schaefer, seconded by Legislator Richard Whitman.
Good afternoon, legislators. Sean Sally, Deputy Commissioner, Nassau County Department of Public Works. The proposed use and occupancy permit calls for the granting of permission to Home Box Office Incorporated, also known as HBO, to use an approximately 6.5-acre underutilized vacant cleared area adjacent to the Museum of American Armor, the Old Bethpage Village Restoration, located in Old Bethpage, to construct a temporary television production set and film a television series. I'll provide a few key terms of the revenue agreement. The term is for 18 months with a 4-year one-year renewal option. The county will receive $600,000 annually in permit fees with a 5% escalation compounded for each one-year renewal. Revenue is to be dedicated to the Old Bethpage Village Restoration property. Construction of the temporary set will be at HBO's cost, including grading and landscaping to provide proper drainage and alleviate an existing flooding condition at the adjacent Museum of American Armor. The Department of Public Works will be reviewing all plans prior to HBO commencing construction. And this is typical of any permit where a structure would be constructed on county property. Prevailing wages will be paid. Some of the benefits. The proposed permit will promote the film industry, which has both direct and indirect benefits to the county's economy. The proposed permit provides for public access of the premises under HBO's supervision, including scheduled school tours. HBO will also cooperate with the county to offer job, internship, and educational opportunities, as well as seminars on filming to the youth of Nassau County. I'm joined by representatives from HBO, Gold Coast Studios, and the Armor Museum, as well as Deputy County Attorney Dan Grippo. I'll start by introducing Jay Rowe, Senior Vice President of Production for HBO, who will provide a brief overview of the opportunity before you today.
Thank you, Chairman and County Executives. We're very happy to be here today. I think this is a wonderful opportunity, given what's happening in our television industry right now. I think many of you are aware of the amount of production going on in New York City, and the opportunity to bring that production out here to Nassau County. I think it's an incredible opportunity for all of you and all of us to work together. We're getting great support from Gold Coast, where we're going to be building stages there. To have the opportunity to build a backlot, we'll be providing jobs. We'll be hiring a lot of people here from the county. We also look forward to a very strong relationship in the same mission that the Restoration Village and the Armory provides, a way for people to understand not only the history, which we will be discussing in this television series, but also about the filming process and the kinds of jobs and opportunities that our industry provides. There's this kind of unprecedented growth going on around the world. And I think for Nassau County to have this opportunity to work with HBO, the kind of support that we'll be bringing to this is a wonderful partnership. And the success of these productions that we do all around the world really is about a partnership between HBO and the filmmakers and all of the people here in Nassau County. So we look forward to that. If there's any other questions, I can certainly provide context to what we're trying to do here. Thank you.
Any questions?
I think you covered most of them, but so Rose,
Yeah, just Sean, the physical location where this is going to be placed, can you just tell us where it's going to be?
Absolutely. There's currently a cleared lot just to the, perfect.
Try to stay near my.
So essentially, it's the area that's used for overflow parking at for events at the Museum of Armor?
Formerly, yes. So the Museum of Armor has its own surface parking lot that was constructed to accommodate the museum. This area has been most recently used for tank display area and demonstration. Parking for the Long Island Fair is actually accommodated off-site at adjacent office buildings that are vacant on the weekend. So there's there's a bus shuttling that's done. But again, you can kind of see in this aerial, if you look at Google Maps, you can see the area has been ripped up. There's tread marks in the on the dirt from the tank material, from the tank operations displays within this area.
So there's no expectation, Mr. Sally, that the use of that particular parcel is in any way going to impact the operations of Old Bethpage Village itself?
Absolutely not.
Okay, and it won't negatively impact the operations of the American Army Museum?
No.
Of American Army?
Right, no, actually, we think it'll actually enhance the grading of this area for the set. The Department of Public Works is working with HBO to actually mitigate existing flooding issues around the Museum of Natural Art. So the current slope is some overland flow stormwater that sort of bombs out that parking area. So as part of the set construction and grading design that Public Works is reviewing, HBO is going to contain that stormwater on their site, mitigating that flooding issue.
And does this create any alienation issues?
I will call upon our Deputy County Attorney.
Good afternoon, Dan Grippo from the County Attorney's Office.
Good afternoon.
We have structured this transaction in a way that we think is respectful of parkland alienation concerns. First, we've structured the transaction as a revocable permit. We're not transferring any leasehold interest, say, to HBO. The land that, so it's freely revocable by the county. The land that we have, the site is as Sean said, it's essentially barren and underutilized. So there'll be no substantial disruption or intrusion on the public use and enjoyment of OBVR. We're not destroying a ball field, say, to create the set. So it's underutilized land that an HBO's use will not interfere with the public's use of the park. In fact, HBO will be building and removing a temporary set. There'll be no permanent structures that would impede the public's use. And in fact, after HBO is finished and removes its set, they're going to grade the land and make sure the land is left in a suitably graded, level condition. And HBO will contribute $300,000 to the county, so the county can then build a ball field on that site. So, in essence, the permits, it's a creative way to infuse private monies into the park system and to improve underutilized land with collateral benefits of promoting the county's film industry, creating jobs, providing interesting recreational and educational opportunities as well. So that's the structure. We think it's respectful of parkland alienation issues, and we also think it's beneficial and will improve the park in the long run.
Thank you. And Sean, Mr. Sally, has OSPAC weighed in on this?
The county attorney's office, and based on the precedent that we've seen with respect to permits, is long-term permits go to OSPAC. So in this case, if you look at the permit, it's for 18 months, your initial term, and it's much less than the 10 years or longer standard that the counties typically use to classify permits as long-term, requiring OSPAC review. For instance, the Twin Rinks permit's 30 years with 2 10-year periods. The American Armor Museum itself is 15 years. The Malloy Baseball Field at Mitchell Park, 25 years with 10. So 18 months is much shorter. Then, though the permit has 4 one-year renewal options, HBO is not obligated to exercise them. And there's no reasonable certainty that, for instance, though we want it to succeed, the show may not succeed, and HBO may not exercise the rules. And finally, the county, as I mentioned, has a broad revocation right, so there's no reasonable certainty that the duration of the permit would, in any event, exceed to the maximum 5.5 years.
So I wasn't here at the time OSPAC was created, but I sat on OSPAC for 9 years before being elected to the legislature. What is the, and I actually don't know the answer to the question, what is the standard? Is there a length of time for a contract for it to have to go for OSPAC review? What is the law actually say?
Not in the statute, it's just the phrase long-term permit. I'm saying that the precedent, the practice here has been to go with 10 years or longer.
All right, so that's the established precedent?
That's the precedent. And as I mentioned,